Well, hello everyone. Vicky Schettini here, and yes, we have a dynamic boss lady doing wit. I'd like to welcome the amazing Laura Al-Amery. How are you doing, Laura?
Great. Thank you for having me on this podcast.
Thank you for being here. I am so excited. So let's get started and let's talk about what did you do before real estate?
Well, really, real estate has been mainly my lifetime focus. I was in college when I started. Actually, I was in college in Hawaii, and my favorite pastime. I was 23 years old. Was to go see open houses on a Sunday. And during one of these open houses, I met this real estate broker who said that he had made his fortune not just by being an agent, but actually by buying, fixing up properties and reselling them. And he suggested some books for me to go out and read. We're talking the 80s here, so there was no podcast, nothing else. You just bought a book. And so I started reading and getting more about it. And I became a licensed real estate agent in Hawaii. And I was very successful as an agent. And then I really started investing in Hawaii, buying my host houses and fixing them up and then upgrading to a bigger house. But then I started in rentals in 91 when I moved to the mainland. And so real estate's always been with me since I was 23 years old.
Oh yeah, it's in the blood. It's in the blood. And then you had to learn the hard way because now with the internet and there's so much information, which sometimes is good and bad because there's a lot of wrong information out there too. So, you just have to get out there and go do it.
Right.
Well, beautiful. So that's when you started getting into real estate. And so tell us about like the experience at the beginning. How did you get started? Did you have money? I mean, how was that whole structure look like?
Well, I was very fortunate when I started as an agent in Hawaii. I worked for a real estate company where there were 75 real estate agents and 74 were women. Because the owner of the company, her name was Vi Dolman. The owner, she believed the women were better at this. And she had started back in the 50s before Hawaii became a state with no money. She moved from Kansas with 2 children. And she basically said, that back then, thank God, I could take my kids out with me, crack the window and leave them in the car while I was showing property because I couldn't even afford child care.
Yeah.
And she was ahead of her times, but she taught us how to think outside the box. She taught us how to have the determination and the drive that you need to be successful. And she always said, you want to keep your feminine side, but you also want to be strong. So she was a really interesting woman. She would come in the office with these hats. She had these very flamboyant hats, and she was driving a gold Cadillac. But she was also an inspiration because she was always positive. She was always upbeat. And so she gave me that drive and inspiration. And so to me, that was the normal way to do things. I didn't know any better. I didn't think you had to have money or you had to have any type of backing to do it. You just had to have a drive. So when I moved to the mainland in 91 and I started buying my rental portfolio, it was almost something to prove to myself that I could do it with no money, no experience, no credit, not even a job. And I had been an American citizen only a couple of years. I became a citizen in 89. So, and I went out there and did it. Within 18 months, I had purchased 16 multifamily properties and anywhere from 2 units to 8-unit buildings, and all with no money and no credit.
I love it. Oh my gosh, I am so excited that you just said what you just said, because I strongly believe, well, I did it myself too, without any money, without any credit, without any job, and I had a foreclosure on me. And I tell people all the time exactly what you just said. It's all a mindset and just being creative. So tell us some of the, so this woman knows what she's talking about. I'm telling you, anyone that's out there listening she's proven case that she knows, just the little stuff that she's saying, I'm telling you, she knows. So tell us, give us some of the strategies you did, because honestly, you did have it harder. Yes, I was living in the back of my car when I started, but I've heard and I've gotten my feet wet a little bit before. Yes, you did also, but they didn't have all the, I mean, the flipping, the rentals, all this stuff wasn't as big as it is now. So I think you probably had it even harder.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, a lot of time I said, ignorance is bliss. I was 23 years old. I didn't know any better. And I had no preconception. I didn't think that it was going to be a disadvantage for me to be a woman, especially from another country who barely spoke English, to make it. I didn't think that. To me, there was nothing different about me. And so that helped me to really just go out there and try it. And just by reading, I bought a few books, and I was like, okay, let me try this. And then it was really just by doing it. It was the step for me to read, to do it, was basically non-existent. I would read something, I would go out there and do it. And I did what I have to do. I joke a lot of times and saying, my cell phone bill back in the beginning of the 90s was $800 to $1,000 a month, because I had to pay $1 a minute. If you remember back then, the cell phones were very high. I had one of the first cell phones in Hawaii back in '87. I bought a cell phone for $1,500. That was just a cell phone.
The big one, it was like a brick and it came on that big case. I remember exactly what you're talking about.
You had to go and walk on top of a building to get any reception. But the thing is, I always was a doer. I always do something. I have, one of the things I say to women, we have an advantage because we have a gut feeling. We have intuition and a gut feeling. Go with that. That's 50% of what you have to do. And so follow that. Read, get any information. That's great. By the end of the day, go out there. It's better in imperfect action than no action at all. Get in your car, drive around the neighborhood, see what you see, talk to people, get out there, and then things will come to you. So when I started in rentals, I didn't really know much, and I read a couple of books, and so I went out there, started driving around, started talking to banks, started talking to people that I knew more about it than I did. And that's how I started buying property. And I wasn't picky. I was pretty much taking over anything that people would give my way, as long as there was creative financing involved. So yeah, I bought stuff in bad parts of town, in good parts of town, mostly bad parts of town, but it didn't matter. I didn't have to live there. And actually, those are the ones that made me the most money. Then eventually I went into wholesaling. Well, again, because I was out there doing things, I stumbled on somebody that he was basically flipping contracts. And I didn't know what I was, but I followed him. Actually, as an agent, I went to work for him for a few months to learn how he did things. And then I realized I set the closings. I understood what he was doing. So then I decided to go on my own and do it. And I did that. And then after I started doing fix and flips, wholesaling, in the process of that, I came across people that had money. So some of my buyers were cash buyers. So I went to my buyers and told them, okay, but once you come up with the money, I find the property, I get all the construction done and sell it, and we split the profits. So then I got into fix and flip. And then eventually, by doing all these things in 2001, because now I had a business reputation, I've done a lot of deals, it was easy for me to take exponentially where I get a lot more money. So then I started buying at auctions and doing a lot of bigger things. But it all came from being out there and doing and interacting. And now, sometimes I didn't have a clear path, honestly. I think right now I probably would have done even better. It would have taken me shorter time if I really had set goals and a clear path. Back then, it was pretty much where I was going with it. And even with that, so there is so many doors that opened just because I was out there starting to do things and doing it and following my gut feelings.
Exactly. And, that's something that we women, I think, number one, we do have the gut. And then we can get very creative. And let's say if you are struggling right now and you are living a paycheck to paycheck and your child gets into a sports and they need that uniform, or your child has a field trip that you need to pay for that field trip, you will go and figure out a way to go and make sure your child does not go without. So that creativity that we do for our kids, unfortunately, we don't always do it for ourselves. And that really is that drive, that creativity that you need to be successful in this business. The more creative you are, the better it is. I mean, I love you. Everything you're saying is just like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have met you a long time ago. I would, yeah, I'm very excited because I'm going to be replaying what you are saying to a T over and over again.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what is it that you are doing now, or is there something in particularly that you have a bigger passion for? One of the things, as I say, I have different baskets in real estate. My rental basket is a big basket. So what do you have? A lot of baskets? Do you have one in particular that you like? What is it that you're more passionate about?
Right now, I always say that at any time in real estate, you have like a main dish and a side dish. So you have focus, 75% is into your main entree, but then you have a nice side dish on the side. So right now, the main dish is actually wholesaling. Okay. I love wholesaling because at this time in my life, being that I travel a lot, and also my daughter, I trained my daughter into it, and she's just started a few years ago in wholesaling. That's easier for her to do, and also coach other women to do it because I coach together with my daughter. So wholesaling, I say, this is where my interest is right now. And the side dish of it is fix and flips, and so because of the access to the money that I still have, and also as you go through the deal, sometimes, yeah, you can make $10,000-$15,000 on a deal, but you can make so much more if you do a fix and flip, especially if you do have the funds available. So with that said, those are my two main things. My main dish is wholesaling, my side dish is fix and flip.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now tell me about a little bit about the group that you have. You have a women's group.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
I'm
I
excited.
run it. I run it together with my daughter. So, like I said, we're a mother and daughter team, and we started this group more about giving women hope that there are possibilities out there. That there are things that they can do. That doesn't matter where they're coming from. Doesn't matter what their situation is they can go out there and change their life today. And to have real estate as a tool to do this. Not the other way around, not that real estate is the main thing and that will help you to have the life you want. No, you can have the life you want, and real estate can help you as a support tool. Because we run across a lot of women. As you know, women, we tend to multitask too much. And we are caregivers, we want to help. We are always out there giving, 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 but we don't do anything for ourselves. And we meet a lot of women that say, I always wanted to get into real estate. I always see the possibilities there, but I had to take care of my mom. I had to take care of my brother. I had the kids. I had a divorce. My husband was doing everything. And so it's like they come to a point where their dream is to have the life that they want, to travel, to have the money, to have the house that they want, but they really don't have the skill set anymore. They've given it away. So tools, this real estate is a skill set that we can help women to really exponentially fast forward to where their goals are. Because, let's face it, like, you can be, in welfare, you can be living in your car, you can do anything, having no money, and all of a sudden next month you can be driving a new car and buy a house, and the only thing that can do this is real estate. And so that's what we empower women with, to have the skills and the knowledge on how to go about it and change their life and change people's life around them. Because again, women tend to be caring for other people, they're givers. So, they always say by myself, but maybe I can leave a legacy for my children. Maybe I can help my family be better. Maybe I can do more with the small nonprofit organizations. They want to help that, charities. Women have a lot of different skill set and goals than the male do, and I work with both of them. I have another site where I work with men as well, but we wanted to come in with women on a little different direction. And we are really passionate about it because I feel that women need this type of encouragement.
Yeah. And it is true. Coming from, originally I was born in South America, and then from there I went to California. So in California, I didn't experience so much. Yes, you do. There's a difference in men and women, but more so now in the South. So, and it is really, really important to have that support group out there, um, so they know that, we're not alone. One of the things, I don't know if you came across this, I had, and I actually just kind of realized this in the last 6 months. I had a student of mine that said, yes, I wanted a woman to mentor me because I had done all these mindsets, which mindset is the key, honestly. I had done all these mindsets, worked on my mindset, but then I was worried, are they going to like me? Are they going to, think I'm, may be able to do it? She had all her fears, and if people were going to like her, if it was a male mentor, if they would even help her, it was self fears. And we do that. We do give ourselves that fear, um, that at one point or another, we all thought about it. It might
Right.
not be in this area, but we've all thought about it. So when she said that to me, I thought, oh my God, I've had that fear in the past too. Are they going to like me? They're going to think this, they're going to think that. So it's really important to have that support group for women out there. And I think because of your extensive background, I mean, I think that's phenomenal. How would someone join your group? Because I mean, ladies out there, this lady knows what she's talking about. She has done with whatever it takes for sure. So if somebody wants to join your group or wants to get a hold of you, and where can they listen to your podcast?
Well, I think the best place is to visit our website, which is realestateinvestingwomen.com. So realestateinvestingwomen.com. And we have different options. We have the podcast on there that we host our own podcast, and we love to have you as a guest there as well. And then
I
we have
love to.
a lot of articles. We have a lot of options for free ebooks about different things, to really get it going. So it's a lot of information. So I think that's the best way to start with. And then also, if you are ready to talk to us, there is an option to schedule a call as well. So go to realestateinvestingwomen.com.
And that's real estate investing women, MEN at the end.
Correct.
Oh, okay, women.com. Beautiful. Now, do you go live at any of the times, or is it pre-recorded?
Right now we do a lot of live events. We
Okay.
do luncheons. We are located in Florida, so we do different cities in Florida. Actually, we're going to Jacksonville in a couple of days. We're in Tampa, Orlando, South Florida. We go to Atlanta, New York, and Chicago. We had a big established clubs over there for many years. And so we do live events. We do retreats as well. We just did a 2-day retreat in Florida a couple of weeks ago. We're doing another retreat at the end of next month. So we always have these retreats. Now, as far as the live, we do the podcast, we do Facebook Lives. And so sometimes I do webinars, but we're much more about being interactive and live because there is so much out there as far as coaching, right? And
Yeah.
one of the questions they ask us all the time, how are you different? Because let's face it, real estate mentors don't have the best reputation. We're seen as, because of some of these mentors, the way they conducted themselves, taking people a lot of money and never giving them anything in return. And so they say, how are you different than anybody? So that's one of they ask a lot. And then one of the interesting thing I want to say is that we coach women. And like I say, on my end, I do coach men as well. And one of the things the men tell me is that they chose me to be their mentor because I am a woman. They don't trust the men. And so it's when a couple of years ago, I almost was at the crossroad to say, I'm just going to coach women. I'm just going to let the men go. But then I had men really telling me, I asked them, why you chose me? And they say, because you're a woman. And so with that said, you know, we have a different mindset, even with our women.
Yeah.
We're more there about helping each other. We're not seeing each other as a competitive, like with men, they say, you know, they brag about what they do, but they don't teach anybody else really how to duplicate it. We have a more given nature. And
And
so,
I love how you just worded that. When I first decided to go and do things, one of the gurus out there that I went and spoke at, I noticed the stuff he was saying. I'm like, oh my gosh. I said, people can really lose their shirts on the way you're teaching it. Turned out he had not owned not a one property, nor didn't even have a rental, not even his own house. So I thought, oh my gosh, there's a lot of fraudulent people out here. So, and so you said it. I do think though, women, we because we are more nurturing and we do care. We really want an outcome. Like, do it. You
right.
can get it done. So I can see why men would want that. I can fully see it.
That, and they feel that women are more honest. You know, that's one of my students from California, actually. He said to me, you know, I feel like women are more honest. I wouldn't trust a man telling me what to do. So it's, I mean, I'm not saying that there are not good men out there that are mentors. I'm saying that women,
Exactly.
like for the same reason when I started working as an agent, you know, 74 were women because she believed they were better. They were established. And an interesting part is about that she passed away by Dolman a few years ago. And she was 97 years old. And she just closed her last deal 3 weeks before she passed away.
Oh wow, she still kept going. Oh my gosh,
I
I
know.
love her.
And I
Love
was
her.
in Hawaii a few months ago, and I connected with one of the brokers that were there. And she was my inspiration because she was funny. She was a go-getter. She was everything. And I did a podcast with her, actually. I interviewed her. And if anybody goes to my podcast, look for the podcast interview with Donna. Donna is 90 years old. And she owns Coldwell Bankers Pacific Luxury Properties in Hawaii. She's still a top broker producer. She was on the board of Realtors for Honolulu. And she remembered me. That was even
I
more
love it.
impressive. I was like, she said to me, you know, I knew you were gonna do something great, you know. And the other thing about her that it was funny because during the interviews, which is a great interview, it's 45 minutes, and she shared a lot of what she did and how she was successful. But one of the things that she did is it came through what I learned, what had been impressed in my mind from back then, some of their beliefs, what made her successful, what made her to stay top of the game is basically being out there and helping people and being of service. And when I asked her, I said, what is the thing you regret you haven't done enough of because she's done so well? She says, I should have followed up even more.
Yeah.
And so you learn a lot from them. And she's 90 years old. And so one of the things I always say, I says, if you want to live a long life, stay in real estate. Because the most successful women I met in real estate and they have done very well for themselves financially and also lived a very long life in their 90s. So I know several that have done it that way.
Yeah, it keeps your mind going because you always have to be
Exactly.
creative. I mean, that's just keep it going. I mean, I am really, really excited and I'm so glad that we found you because um, I really think this is what it's all about. And I'm getting chills right now, but um, if there's a will, there's a way. You have to have the drive, you have to have the mindset. And I think you're an inspiration. And I think women out there and men too, um, she said it right there is she didn't have the money. She just went out there and she didn't have all the information that we have now. Is she got a little piece of the puzzle and okay, I got it. Let's go do it. She wouldn't give up. So I think that's huge. You know, number one shows character. It just shows a lot. So I am very, very excited to given the chance to have, be able to speak with you because you really are the example of why I'm actually doing what I'm doing. It's you just do it, whatever it takes.
Right. Exactly. Whatever it takes, whatever it takes. It's like, it's one of the things that we were talking about. I come from Italy. I grew up in Italy, and coming here, I was 21 years old. I got into real estate. I was 23. But coming from another country, and to me here was like being open a Pandora box. The opportunities out there, and a lot of people that come from other countries, they see this more. I have to say, if you grow up here, you take a lot for granted. But when you come from other country, as beautiful as they are, like Italy, the opportunity is not there. You either are in the business or you know somebody in the business to really make it. Otherwise, you stay at a lower level in your life. To me, that was a groundbreaking to really realize, hey, I can go out there and do it. There's plenty of opportunities. The doors open for me once I started doing this. That's why I said I had no preconceptions. I was young. Like I say, ignorance sometimes is bliss, because I didn't know any better. So I just did it. Why not? They do
Yeah.
it. I can be
Yeah.
successful too. And so I would say to anybody, just go out there and do it. By doing something, even if you don't know exactly what, just get in your car, start driving around, start noticing properties, write down phone numbers for rent signs, call the owners, maybe they want to sell. Go out there and look at properties. You see a vacant property, find out who owns it. Start having these conversations. You don't have to have a script. You just need to be yourself and be willing to help. And once you come from that place, doors will open for you.
That's it. Once you solve the problem, you know your why, and the seller has a why. Why are they selling? So you really just have to be a problem solver and say,
Correct.
look, here is your problem. Here's how we fix the problem. And oh my God, I am so beyond excited that I'm speaking with you and you're saying what you're saying. But again, let's go back and then say where people can get a hold of you. So then that way, if those of you started late, you definitely want to go back and listen to this whole podcast, because definitely she's doing wit. So how would someone be able to get a hold of you again?
Yeah, go to our website, is realestateinvestingwomen.com. And you'll see a picture. There's me and my daughter. She's also an investor. She's a wholesaler. So she can also share with you her story, because you will go in the about page, you read about us. And she started, as a single mom with a 2.5-year-old and $5 in her pocket. And she went into wholesaling. So that was her story. But go to realestateinvestingwomen.com and check it out. We have podcasts, we have articles, and then we have options for you to contact us by scheduling a call, and then we can go from there.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, beautiful. Thank you for coming on the show. I am like so excited, and definitely we will be talking more.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.